Diane Mollaghan, and I'm an applied animal behaviorist at Town Lake Animal Center. I'm a graduate student in the Department of Psychology, and I'm studying animal personality. I'm looking particularly into how we quantify animal or dog personality in the shelter environment. So I'm looking at a lot of different assessments that are used to evaluate personality in shelters and see how they measure up, and then also using that information to match pets with people successfulay. The DTA-4 is the standard assessment we use here at the shelter. So the first subtest in the DTA-4 is what we call the stare at the dog in the kennel. And what we do is we give the dog a direct stare, and we look for responses. We're looking to see if we can elicit aggressive response or a defensive response or a fearful response, or if the dog is fine with that. The next part of the assessment is when I get in the kennel with the dog and ignore the dog. That assessment is basically designed to see how hard the dog is going to work to get my attention, how sociable it is. And the next subtest is grooming the dog. So this is where we expose the dog to a grooming routine and handling. And this is where we sort of test thresholds of if the dog is used to being handled, if it's used to being groomed, if it'll try and become aggressive when I try and handle it. The next subtest is showing the dog a leash, and this is designed to elicit an excitable response to see if the dog gets very excited and if it has sort of an on-off switch. And so I show the dog the leash, and some dogs who have associated a leash with positive things, such as going for a walk, will usually respond with a very excited behaviors, jumping up, barking, whining. Some dogs who have never seen a leash before will shy away. Do you want to go for a walk? No? Do you want to go for a walk? Then the next is I take the dog out of the kennel on leash, and I just look at their leash behavior. Have they had any formal leash training? It's pretty easy to tell the dogs who've never been on a leash before. Do you want to play? The next subtest is where we play tug-of-war with the dog, and we look at its level of playfulness, its excitability threshold. We look at sociability. So does it engage in the tug-of-war game, or is it more interested in getting social contact, or does it really not pay any attention to me at all? I find that most of the time when relationships don't work out between pets and owners is because is sort of unfulfilled expectations. So if we're able to gather enough personality information of the dogs that we have at the shelter, then we can have that information on hand when we have an adopter coming in that's looking for a dog that they want to be at their feet all day, that they want to socially interact socially with that dog. If they want a calm dog, if they have a quiet household, we'll have that information. So basically it's about sort of shrinking the expectation gap between what people's perception of this particular dog's behavior is based on looks, which is usually what a lot of people use to assess personality of dogs, especially in the shelter. And so we really want to try and basically give as much information to these owners while they're still in the consideration process before they commit, and so to hopefully help them make an informed decision about what pet is going to be best suited to their lifestyle and their experience level as a pet owner.